Good evening. I'd like to call to order the Council of the Whole meeting, January 22nd, 2015. I'll get it straight. Ms. Rice Carver, call the roll, please.
Ms. Barner.
Present.
Ms. Grandillo. Here. Mr. Hatridge.
Here.
Mr. Horvath. Mr. Kovach.
Present.
Mr. Cudley. Ms. McDougald.
Present.
Mr. Vaca. Mr. Wolf.
Here.
Okay, the third business on the agenda is the approval of the minutes.
So moved. Second.
We have a second, move and second to approve. Everybody approve. Say yes.
Yes.
Aye. Opposed? Any discussion? That's carried. The fourth item of business is the Finance Director's report. Mr. Paul?
Yes, basically there is almost no change from last month. We are running basically right in accordance with plan. We're a little bit higher on revenues, a little bit lower on expenditures than budgeted, and it is so far proving to be a very good year, very similar to what we've had in the past. I did mention one thing on here, and that's the overall increase in cash. That's not a profit picture. That's not a indicate, say, wow, we're going to be really swimming in surplus this year. That's not to mean that. It means that our cash positions are good, and we'll be able to meet all the budgeted items that we have this year. So it's looking good all the way around, and have nothing further to report.
Any questions? Ms. McDougall?
Thank you, Mr. Councilman. Mr. Paul, I know in your report you had mentioned the Shawnee Trail work that is about to commence.
Yeah.
I guess I would address the mayor. Do we have any kind of idea where that's at? What the residents can expect?
Ms. McDougald, Mr. Chairman, I don't think we've bid it yet. I think we're still doing the engineering, correct?
Will that take place then this year still, or?
That's the plan, Ms. McDougald, Mr. Chairman, yes.
Okay,
But engineering has been pretty extensive.
okay, thank you.
Any other discussions or questions for the mayor? Okay, I would like to entertain a motion to approve I'm sorry. Mr. Wolf.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just speaking as somebody that's been through it on Eldridge, I can tell you that it doesn't matter when they start it, they will work through the winter. So if anybody out there is wondering, and they live on Shawnee, the Eldridge Road project started prior to winter and continued right through winter. So whenever they start, they'll start. These guys aren't going to stop for weather. So.
Okay. Any other discussion? I'd entertain a moment to accept the finance report as submitted.
So moved. Second.
Have a move and second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That is approved. The fifth thing on their business agenda tonight is the employees generally, firefighter, paramedic. Mr. Chief Barnes.
What we're doing here is we put a name to the position now. And Christopher Mullins is one of our part-time employees. He's worked there for over 7 years. He placed first on the civil service exam, and he's the person we want for the job.
Okay. Ms. Barner?
Yes, thank you, Chief. Is Christopher Mullins, is he an Aurora resident? Or could you share a little bit about his?
He lives in
biography?
Manaway. Yeah, he's full-time at Manaway Fire Department, part-time with us.
Okay, so
And
he's close by.
he is.
Okay, terrific. Well,
Yep.
thank you.
He was out helping us last weekend down at the lake.
Oh, very good. And I
Yep.
saw some workers today at CVS late afternoon today.
I believe you. I wasn't in town, so.
Yes, thank you.
Motion to move it on.
Second.
I'd just like to make a note here that the administration has asked this to go forward to tonight's agenda for action tonight. Okay. Yeah, move and second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? And that is to go forward. 5B is a nuisance abatement to property owners. Who wants to address this? Mr. Paul?
Yeah, annually, if in fact we do have some nuisances, and this is grass cutting, of course, as you notice, we ask you to approve the dollar amounts, and then we send it to the county by the first Monday in September so that it can be added to the real estate tax bills for the following year. In this case, we have 4 properties in which we have done 1 to 2 cuts as indicated, and we ask that you approve that so it can be added to their real estate taxes.
Ms. McDougal.
Thank you, Councilman. Mr. Paul, I always thought that a tax lien was placed on the property for this, but it actually is part of their
That is-
yearly taxes?
That is correct, yes. So it'll all be collected next year.
Well, that's wonderful.
Yes, it
Okay.
is.
Great,
Yes.
thank you.
We do that also with sewer, delinquent sewer, water and sewer bills too.
Okay, great, thank you.
Ms. Porter?
Thank you, Councilman Hatridge. Yes, I think this is great. I'm glad that we build them and the yards are being kept up. My question is, if they don't pay that, then does it become a lien on their home if they don't pay that bill?
Well, yeah, your taxes are a lien and it's preference, I'll defer to the law director, but it's a lien, a debt that is one of the first to be paid off through bankruptcy, et cetera, whatever. So it's a pretty secure position we have.
Anything about that thing?
Mr. President, Councilwoman, yes, as the finance director indicated, there is a priority for local, for governments, whether it be tax liens and assessments. This is actually an assessment.
Right.
It's put on the tax duplicate. And after, if they don't pay, and then after it is certified in the tax duplicate, they still can pay it and it'll come off. But if it's not paid, then it'll go on the tax duplicate. And eventually, so long as the value of the house is such and there's not too many liens priority-wise, we'll get paid. Usually what happens is it goes in the tax duplicate and it gets paid at some point because someone goes to refinance or they want to get a loan or something like that, but not always. We have to wait sometimes.
Thank you.
And this legislation will go forward to council's regular agenda.
Second.
I have a move and second to forward this to the council's regular agenda. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That vote carries. At this time, that concludes all of our business for tonight. Entertain a movement to, move and second to adjourn. Meeting is adjourned.